Everyone should have graphical analysis installed on their computer. So to open that, we go to the spotlight here. We can start typing in graphical analysis, and eventually it'll pop up. We can select that. And once the program opens, we're going to want to select manual entry. So now we're going to start entering our data into the table over here to make a graph. First thing we want to do is change what our X and Y axis is. So I'm going to click on the three dots here for the X axis. I'm going to change it to column options. And what we're representing here is the number of shakes or pours that we did for our M&Ms. When they were in the cup, we poured them out. I'm just going to call it shakes. There really isn't any units for that. It's just how many we did. It's kind of representing our time unit. Every shake represents a minute or an hour or a second, whatever you might be. So we're going to apply that. And then I'm going to change the y-axis. On the y-axis, we want the number of undecayed M&Ms. So I'm going to type that in. No real units for that again. So I'm just going to hit apply. And now I can enter my data. I'm going to use simulated data. Please do not type these numbers in for your graph. You need to use the data from your lab. So we went from 0 shakes all the way up to 7 shakes. I'm going to start with 100 and work my way down from there. Okay, once the data is entered, we'll see the points for our graph on there. I want to put a line in. So we're going to come down here to the lower left-hand corner where it says Graph Tools. I'm going to click on that. And I want to do Edit Graph Options. So here's where I can put a title for my graph, which I definitely want to do. This is number of undecayed M&Ms versus time, which is what our shakes represent. I also want my points to be connected by a line. So I'm going to click both here. So it shows both the points and the lines on my graph. And I have successfully made a graph for my data from the lab. Now you are supposed to graph the data from both trials. So to do that, we want to come up here. This is for our first data set. We want to come up here and add a new data set. So when we do that, it gives us a new shakes and number of undecayed M&Ms data table, and we can enter our data for the second data set. Let me just enter some data real quick. Okay, so now I'm only seeing the graph for the second data set. I want to see both graphs. So what I want to do is come over here to the y-axis, and I want to select both data sets. So it graphs both data sets. So when I do that, now I can see I got both graphs on the same set of axes, which is what I want. Now you can simply take a screenshot of this graph and insert it into your Google Doc. To do that, you simply hit Shift Command 4, and we only want the graph. Make sure we get the title and the axes and everything in there. So I'm going to make sure I got all that in there. And when I do that, it'll take a picture of it. It'll save that picture to my desktop. I can then insert that picture into my Google Doc.